Hello, hello, and welcome to Sweet Magnolias. I don't know what it's about. Um, I went on the N.O.T.C. Well, of course I did, but I read the description and it made me want to download it. So of course I downloaded it. So it gotta be good. Let me go to the page so I can give you guys a better description of what this game is. Anyway, let's get into it. Sweet Magnolias. Please note that the following story contains mentions of graphic violence and emotional abuse. Darkness. Let me start over. Darkness. Damp floor underneath you. Pain pulses in your head. As your eyes open, or as you open your eyes, you become aware of the auster cell walls around you. Auster. That's what I'm saying. Memories flood into your consciousness. On a bench lies a woman whose eyes are glazed over as if she's been hypnotized. Ooh, okay. Memories. Numerous memories bubble up to the surface of your subconscious. You wonder if they can give any clues as to why you've been in prison. So, these are my memory bubbles. Oh, why I've been in prison. Okay, festival, let's see. Okay. You stride into the temple's main room. Today is the first time witnessing a festival celebrating your goddess. Your peers chatter amongst themselves excitedly. Silence falls as the high priest enters. He's grabbing the wrist of two humans, who you were taught are traitors to your society. They are limp in his grasp, as though they have been hypnotized. Confusion lingers in the air as he mutters something about becoming a reincarnation of the goddess.
Poison-blooded humans like these two do not conform to our society. Their mere existence in this, the holiest of spaces, is an affront to the goddess. They've done everything possible to make us look like monsters. But if it's monsters they want, it's monsters they shall have.
The high priest throws them onto the floor like ragdolls and raises an arm in their direction, making them become quiet and immobile. Their veins push against their skin. The humans scream and writhe until the floor. Against my bed. Blood seeps through the. Oh my gosh. The orifices. And floats upward in a misty red cloud. He keeps the human's blood suspended in the air before flicking his wrist and weaving it into long, thin strands that feed into his own veins. So I am clearly not human. So why would I do something about it? But that's probably why I'm in jail. I don't know. Let's not do anything. Your mind wanders as you struggle to rationalize why the high priest could take a poison-blooded human's blood, though you were taught that doing so is impossible. Perhaps you found an antidote to the toxin at last. As you and your peers watch the humans in agony, you still feel compelled to stay silent. This must be a punishment for those brutes, right? Surely they would have committed some terrible offense against the temple, were it not for your leaders who stepped in to stop them. The humans scream and scream and scream until finally they become as silent as you've been the whole time. They must feel nothing now, just as you feel nothing. Should we question? If it's impossible, how the fuck? Question. Feeling your resolve to stay complacent, weak. You approach the high priest after the festival has ended. You kneel before him, resting your hands on your bent knee and casting your gaze to the floor just as you were taught. High priest, I have several concerns about the events that just transpired. Would the goddess allow such carnage to occur in the midst of the festivities held in her honor?
Child, You're not by the blah 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 blah. Start over. Child, you're not but a fledgling. You'll learn soon that all actions, good and bad, have consequences. Those two people were guilty of crimes against the temple and, by extension, the goddess. They aren't the only ones. It simply isn't wise to keep them alive when they pose such a risk to our way of life.
Heat rises in your cheeks as the realization dawns over you. What crimes could he possibly surmise were committed without a fair trial? Under what circumstances? Do we not all make mistakes and have lapses in judgment? And if so, are we all worthy of death? Right, you know? Because then if you probably did some shit before you became the high priest. If that's the case, you wouldn't be the high priest. I wouldn't be here talking to you. I don't understand. How could you kill them without holding a trial? Do they not deserve to have their cases heard in front of a jury of their peers?
Not if their peers are traitors. Run along now, puppet. Surely you have better things to do than argue with me. I don't like you.
Don't like it. Okay. Classroom. With your peers, you sit diligently in the classroom. The high priest stands before you, preparing for the day's lesson. Today, you will learn about the history of vampires, their allies, and their enemies. As the high priest goes through the lesson, he occasionally stops for questions. Questions. Ask him who the poison-blooded humans are. Ask him to explain the Great War. Ask him about the current situation with poison-blooded humans. Let's ask who they are. Because all we know is that they call us monsters and we call them monsters, and they're poison-blooded because they're human. So I'm just thinking that they got, regular blood, but we, the monsters, or the other species at hand, cannot eat that or taste none of their blood and none of that shit, because like it said, it's poison because they're human. Oh, we're vampires. Okay, who are the poison-blooded humans? How do we know if a human is poison-blooded?
Simply put, poison-blooded humans are the ones that vampires like you and me cannot feed on. While the difference between an allied human and a poisonous one is inscrutable to human beings, it is all too clear for vampires. A human with poison blood will likely become hostile when in the presence of vampires. As such, it is difficult for them to conform to the social standards expected of modern citizens. Denizens, my bad, excuse me. Additionally, evidence from the war suggests that poison-blooded is an accurate term to describe these particular human beings. Indeed, there is a biological compound in their blood that is toxic to vampires. We have reasons to believe that, due to racial tensions exacerbated. I don't know how to say that word. Exacerbated. I don't fucking know. What? I was reading so good and that word just stopped it all. Like, what? Exacerbated? Blah. We have reason to believe that, due to our racial tensions exacerbated by the Great War, the poison-blooded humans deliberately ingested this compound in order to stop vampires from feeding on them while killing the ones that did. These toxins became a genetic trait that was passed down through generations. As such, the toxin becomes diluted with younger generations of poison-blooded humans. There is progress being made in indoctrinating younger poison-blooded humans to be friendly with vampires. Despite the progress made, there haven't been any experiments regarding an antidote to the compound or a method of rendering it useless via brute force. Most of our scientists believe that such research would endanger all the humans and vampires involved. Nonetheless, we're hoping that any humans cured of this poison blood will be able to serve the goddess and by extension the entire realm and all the beings within. Okay. So, back in the day, when there was fighting, the humans didn't want no vampires sucking on their neck and shit. Of course, we don't want nobody biting us. So what they do? Drink a compound, mixes in well with their blood and whatnot to make it poisonous for vampires to bite. Okay? And then it started fucking with the gene pool, and now kids have this compound within them naturally now because the parents had it. But it dilutes, it gets weaker and weaker every time each person is born with this gene. And now they're trying to make the people with that gene friends with vampires. Self-explanatory. Let's go back. Ask them to explain the Great War. Do we really? Well, what's the? Do we really? We don't need to ask them about the Great War. What is the current situation with regards to the poison-blooded humans?
The status quo is that humans with poison blood are still integrated in our society. They are still able to mingle with humans and vampires alike, though they may be prejudiced towards the latter. If they choose, they can work, play, and live in all the same spaces as they do their non-human peers. Let me read that again. If they choose, they can work, play, and live in all the same spaces as do their non-human peers. They just aren't able to partake in some distinct traditions between allied humans and vampires. Most importantly of all, the blood binding ceremony. Yeah, they can't do that because then shit, I might die.
I guess it's not that long. Okay. Could you explain the Great War in more detail?
Certainly. See, this clearing in the woods. It was where the first shot was fired by a poison-blooded human, which in turn signified the start of an interracial war between our groups. In the battles that followed, certain humans sided with us in a fight against them. The war raged on for several decades and was a plague that was passed down from generation to generation. Likewise, an anti-vampire settlement spread between the poisonous humans, which threatened to tear apart the relations between allied humans and other vampires. It wasn't until almost a century after the first shot that the two groups drew up a peace treaty, when they realized that the relationship between a human and a vampire could be symbiotic. Not predatory. There was a tentative peace between the three races. If you're wondering why I said three races, while two are distinctively human, poison-blooded humans are separate from allied humans. It's simply a fair distinction to draw between two distinct types of people. As for those humans with poison blood, the older generation still harbor hostilities against us, but we hope that the younger ones will see the truth, that vampires and humans must work together to ensure our collective survival. Only then can true harmony between our races can be achieved.
A look to your right reveals your friend, whose face is twisted in confusion. Of course, you don't expect her to. Of course, you don't expect her to understand right away. You and her are profoundly different. So is my friend human? Is she an allied human? Oh. Okay. The history of which the high priest speaks is one of you've been taught all throughout your life. There are rumors of uprising where poison-blooded humans would attempt to take over the temple. That way, the most powerful institution in the society of humans and vampires would crumble to dust. The institution that stood for the bond between them would be destroyed, and presumably, the poison-blooded humans will have their way with you. Oh. Okay. So we did the festival, we did the classroom, we learned about the fucking war and the fucking races that are here, which is just humans and vampires. You got the poison-blooded humans, the non-poison-blooded humans, and the allied humans. Yeah? Yeah. And then there's us. It's us. Let's go to the ceremony. Wait. Okay. No, let's go to dress first. It's the day after the blood binding ceremony. The temple elders are holding a traditional dance in your classmates' honor. You stand at the entrance of the grand hall. The walls around you are made of pristine white marble decorated with curlicue, crimson etchings of gold leaf designs. I heard that's what that right. As you wait for your dance partner, you recline on a chaise lounge. The luxurious fabric. I'm pretty sure that does not say luxurious. There we go. The luscious fabric of your ball gown pulls at your feet. Finally, your friend arrives. She's wearing an ivory dress with flowers embroidered onto the bodice. I have no idea what none of those mean. I'm not a dress girl. I don't wear dresses like that. I don't know what none of that is. Like, I know what embroidery is, but what's a bodice? Is this another way to say body? The body of the dress? You compliment her outfit. Dimples adorn the corner of her mouth, and an apricot flush stains her cheek. Apricot is a pretty color. By all means, you lived a life of luxury. As you and your friend take a couple of turns around the room, twirling amidst the other couples, you feel utterly at peace. Nothing could disturb you here. Okay, ball gown. Let's click on that. A present that the temple elders presented to you on your birthday. It's navy blue with gold embellishments that resemble stars and other celestial bodies. You are reminded of the rest of your wardrobe, which consists mostly of neutral tones. In your day-to-day outfits, you look more like a college literature professor than any proper vampire you studied in the old human media. Okay. So what we got? We got fire and ceremony. Oh. What we have, I don't know why I keep stopping in the middle of reading. Like, I read good, and then I might come across a word that I don't know how to pronounce. I can read it, just don't know how to pronounce it, because I have never seen it before. Or, I don't know, sometimes my mind just like tells me I need to take a breather when I don't. Anyway, what we have just witnessed is a true tragedy. Desecration. Yeah, I was right. Why the fuck did I stop? Desecration of a sacred place. An affront to the goddess and those who serve her. However, the goddess smiles upon us, my friends, by not allowing her cult image to be vandalized. The high priest gestures toward the statue of the goddess, which is still flawless ivory, even as the surrounding area is covered in soot. The goddess smiles upon us by allowing us to recover her sacred space and to cultivate our worship of her through these hard times. Now, a question remains. Who's to blame for this blasphemy? I find it impossible to believe that anyone other than those poison-blooded humans who we have always seen as traitors could commit such sacrilege. After all, they have never devoted themselves to our goddess, nor to the tenets of her temple as we have. Fear not, friends, for we shall find these heathens, and we shall have justice. Lord. Cheers erupt from the room. The high priestess' speech rouses a sense. Cheers erupt from the room. The high priestess' speech rouses a sense of pride in your peers. In that shining moment, he seems not only to be a prophet of your goddess, but a divine being himself. He was a god amongst men. The humans in the room stir uneasily, despite not being traitors themselves. You look over to your friend, only to find her pursing? Anyway, her lips are together in the thin ass line. She got thin lips right now. She's biting her lips on both sides, okay? And after your peers leave the room, your friend pulls you aside. There's some things that don't add up about the high priest's accusations. You know what? You know what? And they vandalized her image. How? You're right. None of these elders even bothered to look for evidence of foul play. You respond. I'm glad we're on the same page. Okay. I don't really get this game, so I'm not even gonna sit here and say that I get what's going on. I don't fucking get what's going on. This is all I know. We are vampires. The people who don't like us are the poison-blooded people. We know the poison-blooded people drunk a fucking compound that they made so we wouldn't be able to bite their asses. But we had some humans that was on our side, and it's like, nah, look, we gotta work together. All this fighting and shit. They not fighting y'all, and y'all not finna fight them. Blah, 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 blah. And we like, yeah, let's just work together. And they like, fuck y'all, fuck that, we gonna kill you. So that's all I know what's going on. So now we at a ceremony, the blood binding ceremony, and then all the elders are in the room with the statue of the goddess. And she looking all pretty and shit, but this like shit on the ground. And they like, nah, who did this? It had to be this, and that. And they like, no, we don't know yet. Y'all just pointing fingers. Y'all ain't even do any investigations. So that's the page we on right now. It's like, y'all just blaming niggas just to be blaming niggas. So that's what we on, okay? So that was fire, right? Did we do the ceremony? Okay, no, we didn't. Let me get my reading voice. Today is a special day at the temple. You awake at a You awake with a hearty yawn and leave your chamber earlier than you feels. It is exciting to think that you will soon meet the human being to whom you will be certainly bound for life. Your footfalls as quiet as you as soon as you exit the room. Careful not to awaken those in a room adjacent to your own. On your way to the main room, the high priest greets you with a disarming smile. You give a small wave in return, happy at the thought of the proceedings to come. So we're very excited about what? You wonder if you could head outside to watch the sunrise. Then you remember that students in the junior class cannot leave the building without the permission of one of the temple elders. A glance over your shoulder reveals that the high priest has already gone. It isn't worth bothering another elder just to go outside for a while. Instead, you take a seat on one of the chase lounges that lines the wall. There's one on the left side of the statue of the goddesses, on to which you promptly settle. The carving of the base of the statue reads, "The eye of the goddess watches over it all." You trace it over with your finger, and ornate gold filigree decorates the carving. Don't know what that is, as well as the rest of the temple walls. I think I know what it is, but I don't know what it is. An hour passes by lazily, but the blood binding ceremony is finally underway. Your peers pile into the main room for the adjacent corridors, buzzing with conversation, and all starting to kneel down on one knee in anticipation of the temple elder to lead the ceremony. The high priest and a few other elders led a stream of distinctly human men and women to stand before you. God damn. As you all know, the high priest begins.
All junior priests and priestesses partake in the blood binding ceremony, a sacred tradition where your bond to one of these humans is created and secured. Over the course of next year, and indeed for as long as you may live, that bond will be strengthened. By participating in this ceremony, you are doing the whole temple a great service. The elders gradually pair off the humans with your peers. The humans chatter excitedly about becoming immersed with the temple's culture and politics. You are, in turn, paired with a woman who is seemingly not much older than yourself. In truth, you are hundreds of years older than her. Her face is like the night sky, dark and rich and beautiful to the point where one could get lost staring at it. With
little imperfections that light her skin like stars. One has to wonder how could they feel so insignificant in the face of such grandeur. There we got a little beautiful black queen next to us. Okay. The high priest's voice rings out from the center of the room. Now that you've met your partners, let us commence in our first bloodletting. Always ask your human partners if it's okay for you to take their blood. Remember, they will tire out between feedings and will need time to regenerate blood. It is the utmost importance that you ask for their consent before you feed so they will feel comfortable around you. None of us would want a situation where our human friends are frightened by the feeding process or indeed by their vampire partners, so that we can be forced to starve ourselves of their blood. And you certainly wouldn't want to be branded as a pharaoh if you were to take blood of an unwilling human. This gaze burns into your head and burns into yours and your peer's head. You nod as he speaks. You recall hearing cautionary tales of some vampires not treating each feeding seriously or treating their partners in a callous manner. Such vampires could be overcome with bloodlust. There's something wrong with me. It gotta be something wrong with me for me to be fucking up like this. Cause what the fuck? Such vampires could be so overcome with bloodlust that the bond, it definitely says bond, between them and their partners would start to weaken. Then they were at risk for being branded as pharaoh, causing them to be a castaway from the temple of You turn to your bonded partner, who gives you a sheepish grin. May I take your blood? You ask. She nodded resolutely. She said yes, baring her neck to me. You place 2 fingers above the crook of her neck, feeling for her heartbeat. The blood smells strongest just below her throat. Holding onto her shoulders, you sink your teeth into her flesh, feeling her stiffen lightly. The taste is salty at first, but soon melts into a luxurious sweetness. You lap up the droplets that lingers from the 2 pinprick holes in her neck, working to gently close the wound. See, this is what I don't like about English. There's so many different ways to say words. So my brain knows that there's so many different ways to say words, but it don't know which way to say the words, you know? I see wound. I see that says wound. Why did my brain say wound? Anyway, thank you for letting me feed. Are you alright? You seem tense. I'm fine. It's just a bit weird doing this for the first time. It'll get easier as I feed more, and we'll have the rest of our lives to get comfortable. She smiles, but it doesn't quite reach her ears. Before you can offer any more comforting words, the high priestess begins to finish his speech. You may take the rest of the day to become acquainted with your partners. Your rooms have been made to accommodate them. Why the fuck? I trust you and your companions will enjoy the ball tomorrow. We'll be back to the normal schedule of lessons and prayers to the goddess after that. At the end of the ceremony, your peers and their blood-bound partners shuffle along their respective rooms. You and your newfound companion follow. You know, if there's anything bothering you, you can always talk to me, you tell her while walking. Thanks. It was just an abrupt transition from my normal human life to one intimately amongst vampires like yourself. I've lived among them for all my life, but I've never been able to get to the heart of the vampire life. When I turned 18, I was all of a sudden whisked away from the temple and told I'd be bloodbound to a vampire. You can imagine a sort of whiplash of living amongst vampires to be told you'll be bound to one for life. It's sort of like an arranged marriage. You've heard the old traditions of human marriages being arranged by 2 parties' parents. Now that she mentions it, it does seem similar to the blood binding ceremony. Just with the vampires like yourself out of the equation. You're right, it is like that, you but I promise I'll do my best to be your partner. With the blood you're offering, I would be remiss to take you for granted. Your friend's eyelids crinkle with affection and mirth. You hold the door to open your room. Oh, what the fuck? You hold the door to your room open as she surveys the interior, a reverent gleam in her eyes. There is a walnut-stained desk against the wall, which holds numerous historical books, writing implements, and a cup of dark tea. You sit on a bench at the end of your bed, which is piled with throw pillows and a fleece blanket. On the opposite side of the room is another bed for your friend herself. She leans casually against the footboard. After a moment, she reaches down for the trunk of items she brought with her to the temple. Among them are drawings of natural elements, pressed flowers, and a glass bottle filled with dirt and sand. The earthy smell of old books mingles with the scent of flower. Okay, a little natural girl. So, let's go back to the we went all out of order, so we read all this. We're gonna do something. By the goddess, the high priest is not but a fraud. How is it that you were taught that no vampire can take the blood of a poison-blooded human, yet you see that happening with your own two eyes? In your anger at this deception, you sacredly think before acting. Scarcely. My bad. Scarcely. You scarcely think before acting. Rushing to the front of the assembled crowd, you barrel the high priest over, causing utter chaos throughout the room. In the next moments, temple elders extricate you from him. Why won't they just use regular words? I don't want to sound like that I can't read, but adding all these words that I don't use in my everyday life, and you putting it here now, and I gotta try to sound it out and try to figure out what the fuck it says. Don't do that. We know you smart. You made a game. You made a game. I can't make a game. Oh my goodness. Where was I at? I don't even remember. Oh. Rushing to the front of the assembled crowd, you barrel the high priest over. You ran him the fuck over, goddamn, causing utter chaos about the room. And the next moments, the temple elders extricate you from him. Yeah, that word right there. They pull you into the hallway, pin you against the floor, and the world fades into darkness. That's when I went to fucking jail. The festival. On the bench lies a woman whose eyes glazed over as if she's been hypnotized. Let's look at the woman. You gingerly turn to the woman onto her side. Oh. She stares from her, revealed, confusion clouding her face. Who are you? Your friend. Okay, walk with me then. You walk with the woman to the center of the cell. She points out the brand at the base of your neck. It's tender to the touch, yet almost fully healed. I got something on my neck, bitch. What? That's the sign I got on my neck, bitch. Excuse me. The moonlight shining through the windows casts your surroundings in a bluish purple light. Troubled by the past happenings, you find yourself heading down a corridor to the main room. You're about to turn to the corner when you hear voices just ahead of you. Any updates on the Magnolia project? You recognize the high priest's voice. Pressing yourself against the wall, you strain to hear more of his conversation. Preliminary tests on human subjects reveal that the consumption of blood in copious amounts has a rejuvenating effect on us. We suspect that there are similar. I know that word. Similar. Because we say similar, like similar. And then there's similarly. I'm probably not even putting this gameplay up here because I've been fucking with this whole thing and now I'm just playing at this point. Like, I'm not even being serious reading at this shit. We suspect that there are similar positive effects on longevity, though further evidence is needed. Excellent. You have permission to execute the next phase of experimentation. Those poison-blooded humans won't know what hit them. If, that is, they manage to survive this project. I've always found it strange that they cast us as immortal, even though we are susceptible to the dark wings of death as they are. But then again, what does man fear more than his own mortality? Nodding to the other elder, the high priest grins with a sadistic glee. He turns the corner, leaving his subordinate behind. Okay. As you move away from the wall, you're cut off with a sharp cry of surprise. You flinch. The high priest's surprise soon melts into anger. I can't have you sneaking around, sticking your head into the elder's affairs. What's the Mongolia project? You pressed him for the answer. Determined to stand your ground. What are you doing to the human being? If you want to know, I'll take you and you'll never see the light of day again, he answers, mouth curling into a sneer. As punishment for this incident, you'll be branded as fair. Normally, you'll be cast out of the temple as well, but consider yourself lucky due to our extenuating circumstances. I don't know what that word is. My bad, but I'm not going to correct myself. I'm tired of doing that. What will we do? Will we run or will we fight? If we fight, then we really gonna look like a pharaoh now, would we? Would we now? Bitch. The high priest grabs onto your wrist with a vice-like grip. Yeah, we fighting. Let go of me. You can't do this. The goddess won't stand for such blasphemy. You shout. You have no right to call me blasphemous. To oppose me is an affront to the goddess herself. Your face is an affront to the goddess herself. Your face ugly. You slam your foot onto his calf as you stumble away from him. He recoils in pain before lifting an arm up in your direction without even touching you. He curls his hand into a fist. You find yourself unable to move. The blood that once pounded into your ears have fallen stagnant. You drop clumsily to your knees. Are you going so weak that you cannot bear to endure the visions of the world gone blind? We're going to click on that later. Those humans would be nothing without us. We give their life purpose, salvation from a state of chaos. We gave them a second chance when their world was on the edge of precipice. You think humans are better than us? They've gone to war over arbitrary social divisions. It is correct. They view some of their own as animals. You grit your teeth, unable to lift your head to meet his eyes. The high priest produces a branding iron from the pocket of his robe and heats it with a nearby torch. He presses the iron to the soft flesh of your neck. Searing pain radiates your spine. A searing pain. You're back in the main room of the temple with your peers and the elders around you. Good evening, students. As you already know, all of you today will be partaking in the ritual of the Blood Angel. Keep your partners close, as this is as much of a test for them as it is for you. As the high priest introduces the ritual, you spot some temple elders exit the premises. By the time he finished, they all returned with a satchel full of plant roots. You watch as they grind up the roots and distribute the resulting powder into little glass vials. Ingest the contents of these vials and begin. The high priest instructs as the other elders hand them out to your peers. The powdered substance is bitter to taste. Some of your classmates cough and spill their vials onto the floor. The surroundings become blurry. The ground sways underneath your feet. To keep from collapsing, you quickly settle on the floor. The world fades into black, and you lose yourself into your subconsciousness. Yeah, I remade that word because the way how it was going, my brain was not going to read it that way. So I had to read it the way I wanted to read it. Okay? A little bit of light filters into your eyes as they adjust to your surroundings. You squint to see a silhouette human sprouting from the ground. Their pupils narrow. Their angry words feel. They're angry. Why? I got dyslexia. I'm calling it. Their angry words fill the void like vicious poison blood that threatens to drown you. You notice your friend on the ground, unconscious just as those figures. No monsters. Reach for her and whisk her away to the place you cannot go. In this terrible moment, you understand that there is no greater fear than standing before some entity as intangible as an infinite nothing and not being able to scream. When you count to three, oh my god, the cavity in your chest will open to an endless static. Am I gonna let this happen? Or am I gonna leave? Oh my god, so many things. I don't. Can you even save this game? The ritual. Okay, let's look at Blood Angel. An archaic term for the goddess. It's mostly the older people in the temple who uses it. Okay, let's go back. Monsters. Yes, monsters. They must have been so terrible. That is what you've always been taught, even if you didn't know it at the time. It's simple to hate them. They call you bloodsuckers, corpse hunters, and a million other things that suck away your self-confidence like leeches. In return, you shun them. Excuse me. Your teachers tell you to fear the poison-blooded humans. The high priest tells you to fear them as well. So does the goddess. Why do you pray like this? I don't know. I can't really leave because my counterpart took it. One. Run all you want. You still need to scream. Two. Dream all you want. You still need to run. Three. You're dreaming again. It's nothing but a simulacra in a universe filled with noise, right? Oh, leave. Oh, you're slumped over on the bench in your cell. Your friend looks over at you concerned. You were gone for quite a while. What were you thinking about? Nothing, just the past, I guess. Your friend lets out an exasperated sigh. I knew it wasn't a good idea to come study here. Don't get me wrong. I don't regret meeting you, nor the time we spent together, but this is getting out of hand. You mean not every school you've been to has had a secret torture dungeon? Look at you. Even in the face of mortal danger, you still found a way to lighten the mood. The two of you share a laugh before the circumstances of your imprisonment cloud your thoughts again. Hunger still remains. You cannot remember the last time you had your meal, nor what that meal was. Your friend turns towards you, and your senses are overcome with the scent of honey-eyed meat and citrus fruits, and all the delicious things you know she's been dreaming of. We can't really feed on her because she hasn't eaten anything either, so she won't fucking die. We're not gonna feed. Don't feed. You tear your mind from the thoughts of your hunger, unwillingly to hurt your friend. The next day, the high priest walks through the room lined with cells. He looks over you with a critical eye. His face is unreadable, but there's something malicious on his mind. You can tell with the way he treated you before you got stuck here. Your eyes flicker down to his belt, where an ornate golden key hangs. He steps closer, holding 2 vials of beige-colored powder. The high priest addresses you in a curt manner. My bad, excuse me. The goddess has made it with her. The goddess has made it her will to imprison those who move against us. Will you rise to the challenge and prove yourself worthy of serving her, or will you die like the dogs at the fill of those holier than you? Look at the key. You look over to your friend and nods discreetly. Yeah, we're gonna get that key. I don't want to hear another word from your pathetic mouth unless you're going to explain exactly why you've locked us up here. And I'll tell out your, god damn, tricky, hanging in my room like a prize. Oh my gosh. And when I wake up each morning, I'll thank the goddess that you're riding in the deepest pits of hell. Alright. Your friend spits out every word of her threat as if they are coated in venom. Stunned, the high priest steps back. Your friend presses against the cold wrought iron bars of the cell, fury blazing in her eyes. You reach for the key in the nick of time and slip it into your pocket. Good shit. As the high priest goes to attend to other matters, you share a smile with your friend and move to unlock the gate of your cell. As you step out the temple, relief washes over you. The sky is dark blue and orange and pink. The grass sways to the gentle lullaby of a new day. You link your arms with your friend as you walk towards the city limits. Pausing for a moment, you consider the options in the aftermath of your escape. Now that we escape, where to next? You wonder aloud. My mother owns a cottage in the forest. It's quite a ways away from the temple proper. Maybe we could live there. I'm sure she'd love to have you, her friend responds. But is it far enough away so that the temple elders won't know where to find us? It's a couple of days' journey from where we are now. We could always move further away if it's necessary. That's a plan if I ever heard one. And who knows? Maybe by the time we're settled, word will get out about the temple's corruption and we can move back. Whatever happens next, I know we can face it together. You give your friend a smile before resuming on the path to her cottage. She's right. You can surmount any challenge if you work together. Oh, working together. That was the whole part of this goddamn shit. 2 years later. The high priest is dead. News of the murders of poison-blooded humans spread like a virus. Humans and vampires alike became fed up with the temple's elders' corruption. They stormed the premises. They demanded that the high priest and his accomplices be put on trial and that the temple reform to include poison-blooded humans in its practices, and that reparations to be paid for those affected by the corruption. After hearing of the high priest's execution and sentencing of the accomplices, he decided to resume your duties at the temple. Excuse me. Corruption was allowed to fester because of the people in power. Those people made a mockery of your faith. To reclaim it is its greatest show of I don't know why I pressed enter. Oh, that's done? That was the end of it? Okay. That was a goddamn story. Okay. It was a game, but you know, it's like I don't know, man. We went through the story. We figured out. We made it out the goddamn cell. We found out how we got in there. Tell me what you guys think. Did I even do my intro? I did do my intro. This is gonna be a long video for me to fucking edit. And then I messed up on so many different parts. I don't even know if I'm gonna put this up. So if I edit it, I'm probably gonna archive it. And I'll probably upload it on a dare or something or whatever. I can read. I said in the beginning, not even in the beginning. I said in the middle of this shit. The way how these sentences are structured, they are not structured how I would speak it. So my brain is like, say it like this, or that's not what it says. It says this, and I'm looking at like, no, it don't say that. Anyway, hopefully whatever visual novel thing I do next, you will actually see pictures and have sound, because I gotta add sound to this video. I mean, it was a good story. It was a great story. I felt like I did something, you know, other than just clicking highlighted words, but you know. But that's it. That was Sweet Magnolias. And you know, if you like it, you like it. I'll put the link down in the description so you can pick your own route, choose your own things that you will do or that you would do in this situation. Link the video into my comment section. I'd watch it. You'll see. If you get that one view on your video, you know that's me. Okay? So see you guys later.